General Milley testified yesterday at the Congress about the Afghanistan withdrawal, and he specifically asked for extra time to explain his call with his Chinese PLA counterpart. And what he testified, was a little bit shocking. And then the then Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, actually responded to his claim. So what happened? Let's just take a listen to the partial testimonial by the General Mark Milley about his call to the Chinese counterpart.
With respect to the Chinese calls, I routinely communicated with my counterpart, General Lee, with the knowledge and coordination of civilian oversight. I am specifically directed to communicate with the Chinese by Department of Defense guidance, the policy dialogue system. These military-to-military communications at the highest level are critical to the security of the United States in order to deconflict military actions, manage crisis, and prevent war between great powers that are armed with the world's most deadliest weapons. The calls on 30 October and 8 January were coordinated before and after with Secretary Esper and Acting Secretary Miller's staffs and the interagency. The specific purpose of the October and January calls were generated by concerning intelligence, which caused us to believe the Chinese were worried about an attack on them by the United States. I am certain that President Trump did not intend to attack the Chinese, and it is my directed responsibility, and it was my directed responsibility by the Secretary to convey that intent to the Chinese. My task at that time was to de-escalate. My message again was consistent: stay calm, steady, and de-escalate. We are not going to attack you. At Secretary of Defense Esper's direction, I made a call to General Lee on 30 October. 8 people sat in that call with me, and I read out the call within 30 minutes of the call ending. On 31 December, the Chinese requested another call with me. The Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Asia Pacific Policy helped coordinate my call, which was then scheduled for 8 January, and he made a preliminary call on 6 January. 11 people attended that call with me, and readouts of this call were distributed to the interagency that same day. Shortly after my call ended with General Lee, I personally informed both Secretary of State Pompeo and White House Chief of Staff Meadows.
Okay. So yeah, and that's just the first part of his he spoke about this issue for like 6 minutes. So he claimed that he updated Secretary of State Mike Pompeo about the calls, but actually what Mike Pompeo responded.
Okay, so yesterday Mike Pompeo was received this interview from Megyn Kelly in the radio show. Okay. On the radio show, Sirius radio show. And this is the original word, okay? As you remember, right? Remember General Milley's word. I personally called and informed Pompeo and the Chief of Staff of the White House, Mark Meadows. This is the original word from Mr. Secretary Pompeo. If he in fact said, we will not attack you until we warn you, that's just nutty, right? Pompeo said, it's certain that he did not tell Chief Meadows or me that, because I don't know if he told us. He told us on the same phone call, but I can promise you that Chief Meadows would have called me immediately and said, hey, we got a real problem here. And if I had heard it, I would have gone high and right. I would be very surprised that's precisely how General Milley told the Chinese that. I worked with the General Milley enough, but if he told Woodward and Costa, the 2 authors, that he said that, that's something he has to account for. That would be deeply inconsistent with his responsibility. All right. So only one person can be right, right? This is clearly contradicted with each other. And General Milley said, I personally called them and told them. Pompeo said, no. That's pretty nutty if he said that. And we're going to go, go high and right if we heard that. So who do you think, lied here?